What's up, guys? Margella here. Today, I want to talk about my solo traveling experience in Japan last November. As you know, I stayed there for a month. The first half, I was with my friends, and the second half, I was by myself. Right now, it's winter here in Winnipeg, and it's really cold. We had a harsh winter, and today's actually the first day of March. So I'm just staying in the past few months editing, and now looking back at my old videos, I'm thankful that I was able to go in that experience. But first, let's have some tea. Let's start with our common misconceptions when we go solo travel. Maybe people close to you or even yourself will tell you, first, it's gonna be lonely. Second, it's gonna be scary. And then it's gonna be intimidating. And the list goes on and on. And maybe, I think the big one that I forgot to mention initially is maybe it doesn't feel safe. And totally understandable. I started thinking that way too when I first started in 2024. But I think, honestly, it starts with the mindset of being open to experience and also being aware of your surroundings. I find that when I was alone, I'm more in tune with my feelings, and I was more in tune of the environment or just my surroundings, and that makes me more present, and that's what I appreciate actually when I solo travel. So I started solo traveling when was that 2024, also in Japan, just a couple days, and then ease my way into traveling in Europe for a couple days in Croatia, and then like going on full 2 weeks last November. So I didn't go there like right away. I eased myself to it, see how I respond, and being alone with myself. And I realized that I love my own company, and like I said, I hear myself more and I'm more in tune, and thus I remember more. I think when you're open to the world, the people around you and the experiences, the more good things actually come to you. And honestly, kindness, if you're kind, the universe will give it back to you. I think when you radiate that kindness, especially your kindness to yourself, that's when you'd have a good time. I guess let's move on to why I solo travel. Honestly, being someone who is a constant caregiver, or someone who's nurturing, someone who is an empath, I always put other people first. And so I think this is my way to give back to myself, and I noticed I was kinder to myself when I am alone. So it's a way of self-love, self-care, and I felt guilty treating myself to trips, just spending time with myself, but over time, I become more accustomed to this act. And I'd say maybe it's a ritual now for me to have some time, even a couple days, even not going out of country, to have this time alone with myself. And also, in a way, it's more of with my faith as well. I think I want to shut down the noise, whether it's the outside or inner, go out of the environment where I'm used to, out of the routines, and honestly, it keeps me grounded. It keeps my mind clear about a lot of things. And I think solo traveling kinda, for a bit, strips you off of what you thought you were. It strips you off of your roles if you're um, a daughter, a mom, or maybe you're attached to your job. If you define yourself, I think it's a process of redefinition and exploring yourself and discovering what else is there aside from what you're used to back home. So for a typical day, traveling alone, I remembered coming from Tokyo, taking the train. It was scary, but I did a lot of practice runs with Giselle and Ate Alyssa and Elle when we first had our first 10 days. So I was able to take the train by myself, yay! But there were people who helped me ride the Shinkansen. So it was a breeze, just an hour. And after my days in Tokyo and the Nagano area, I went to Shizuoka. This is actually where I got my teas. I wanted to learn more about teas, hojicha, and like loose leaf tea. So I decided to go there. It was convenient, it was close, so I stayed in Shimizu Ward. Shimizu Ward, more of a rural area. But before I got to my Airbnb, I had to wait a little bit. So I explored around Shizuoka City. I put my stuff in my coin locker, and then I went around to tea cafes. So I went to Good Timing Tea. I guess one encounter I had there was like, I asked for their Instagram, and this guy gave me a sticker, which is really nice. So I appreciate that gesture. And then after that, I went to another tea store. This time in hopes to buy tea. Actually, the tea I'm drinking now is from Oji-chan. So I went into the store not expecting anything, and then he welcomed me. Even though there was a language barrier, he took his time to go over stuff with me, like how to brew, how to store it, and how to steep the tea. So I'm like, oh, this is so nice. Even though we're not like speaking the same language, or there's a little bit of understanding there, as long as you're open to each other, I think that'll be like a memorable experience. So he actually gave me like let me taste free samples of the tea, which I appreciate. When I checked in my Airbnb, I was excited to bike, even though I'm not the pro biker. I was like losing my balance and stuff. But yeah, I watched the sunset. Even though it was like cloudy, I was hoping to see Mount Fuji. But I tried 3 times actually, waking up early to get that shot of Fuji during the sunrise. So I was biking. But you know what? I felt like a character in a Ghibli movie. Buying stuff for myself, kind of cooking but not really, and then having a space for yourself is really magical for me, because I don't have that luxury, I'd say, to be able to just spend time with myself all the time, being someone that's always busy here back home. I guess what I realized traveling alone is that you get to make your own decisions and not really think about how it will affect others. Being someone who's maybe too considerate, that's always something that kind of makes it harder for me to make decisions. But when I was alone, like, it was easier. If I say I want to go to this shop or this restaurant, I'll just go whenever I want, or I'll just eat whatever I want without really asking anyone for permission or like to take in consideration. So that was like a good break for me. I guess I also realized that over time you do get confident making decisions and making mistakes. It's not gonna be a perfect run. You don't know everything, which makes solo traveling actually a humbling experience. You ask for help. Like, you're not gonna know everything, and you're not supposed to know everything, which is okay. So I appreciate that part of solo traveling. It humbles you, it makes you aware of your limitations, but also makes you aware of your strengths. I felt smart and stupid at the same time, and that's okay. I also realized that being spontaneous is a deliberate choice. I know it's counterintuitive, but kind of nice to not have everything planned, and you actually take your time in each place and you just be there. Yeah. So I really appreciate that. There's no rush, and you're just slowing down and just taking things in at your own pace. I think one goal of mine during this trip was to make friends, and I tried learning Japanese for a bit. I still have to learn lots, and I haven't been reviewing, but even though I had very limited Japanese, especially with my experience with my farm stay, I was able to make connections because, again, I was open, and I realized that as long as you're open to getting to know someone, there will be ways. And I think despite the language barrier, despite the differences, I think kindness is a universal language. So I think being kind and considerate, learning about other people, and being open to their culture actually made me make friends. There is one thing that I don't like about solo traveling. I think it will be there's no one to take pictures of you or videos. So I was struggling to take my own shots or whatever shots that I want. I do ask for help if I need. I had this one line. 写真の撮り写真をとてもいいですか? That's all I know, so that they can take my picture. But honestly, I guess one thing that I realized too from this is that you can't capture everything, but you can experience everything that you choose to experience. And if you open yourself up, to sum it up, if you open yourself up to experiences, just be in tune with yourself and your surroundings, I think it'll be a wonderful time. So I hope you guys also take that leap of faith to start solo traveling. Of course, do it in a country that is safe, that you feel like you'll be yourself. And honestly, I feel like I'm myself in Japan because it felt safe for me. So safety is number one first, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.